Hello children, as you are well aware that we are discussing the chapter first, the living world. We have discussed some topics of this chapter. The first one which we discussed, the name of this chapter is living. What is living? An organism which has certain characteristics like it performs growth, it reproduces, it has a fixed lifespan, it evolves with time by certain changes in it. That is considered as living. There are certain defining properties and certain defining characteristics which define a living organism, and these characteristics are what meant to be differentiated a living organism from non-living one. So after that discussion, we had discussed certain terms. Like first term which we had discussed in our previous videos was taxonomy. What is taxonomy? The arrangement of organisms in a fixed pattern, and identification, classification and the nomenclature of those organisms is referred as taxonomy. Is included in a branch of biology. That branch of biology is referred as taxonomy. Then we have discussed systematics. Systema means law and order in a particular sequence. Systematics is basically a composition, a combined form of taxonomy and evolutionary relationships. Evolutionary relationship means how an organism or how a particular species is evolved from the pre-existing ones by slow and gradual continuous changes. So this combination makes a new term, that is systematics. After that, we discuss certain rules of binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature was introduced by Carolus Linnaeus, who is also referred as the father of taxonomy. Carolus Linnaeus proposed certain rules which says that every name or scientific name is composed of two words. One is generic name, another one is specific epithet. The generic name is always written with the capital letter, and the specific epithet is always written in the small alphabet. Next, the name when printed is always written in italics, and whensoever the name is written, it must be underlined. Next, a trinomial nomenclature was also there. We had discussed about that as well, that if a species has certain subspecies, then the name of subspecies is written after the binomial nomenclature, as well as the name of the discoverer or the scientist who discovered that particular name, who gave a particular name, is also written after the name, after the binomial nomenclature. This is a certain rule of trinomial nomenclature. There are certain advantages of that binomial or scientific name. It is a very scientifically, logically proven name. The name is only unique to a particular organism, and two organisms cannot have a similar name. The scientific name is unanimous in every country, to every kind of people, every kind of scientific, so that there is no confusion over there. So these are the topics which we have discussed. After that, we discuss a topic that is taxonomical hierarchy or taxonomic categories. I explained you that there are 7 obligate categories in which we differentiate organisms, in which we place the organism, in which we group an organism on the basis of their similarities and dissimilarities. And those 7 obligate categories were kingdom, phylum, which is referred in the case of animals. In case of plants, it is referred as divisions. Then it is class, then order, then family, genus, and the last one is species. In the last video, I explained to you about all these things, about these taxons. Taxons are the individual hierarchical levels in which we arrange a particular organism, in which we classify a particular organism. This is in a hierarchical order, in a fixed order. That is, if we go from top to bottom, then the similarities keeps on increasing, but the number of different organisms keeps on decreasing. And as we go from bottom to top, that is in the ascending order, then the similarities keeps on decreasing, whereas number of organisms keeps on increasing. There are very general characters are present in the kingdom system. So kingdom has large number of organisms, but least number of correlated characters. What are correlated characters? The characters which relate among the two different species, two different organisms are referred as correlated characters. So that's how we study those. Now, in today's lecture, we'll discuss all these categories in detail. But before that, there are certain intermediate categories as well. Those categories are referred as superclass, subclass, superorder, suborder. Like these, there are certain subphylums, etc. Those are certain various intermediate categories which are also present, which are more specifically defining the various organisms' features. So, first we'll start with species. Species term was given by John Ray in 90s. Then after John Ray, its biological concept was given by Ernest Mayr in 1964. The term was given by John Ray, and its biological concept, its biological definition was given by, biological explanation was given by Ernst Mayr in 1964. What is a species? It is a group of organisms having correlated characteristics and can interbreed freely to produce fertile offspring. There are two types of offsprings, bache. One is fertile offsprings which can further reproduce, and other type are sterile. What do you mean by correlated characters? The characters which relates. That means they have common ancestors. That correlated characters in the concept of species represented by evolutionary characteristics. That is, they have a common ancestor. There are certain organisms which do not follow this interbreed freely to give a fertile offspring point. That exception is mule and heme. Mule is basically produced by interspecific cross. Mule is produced by a cross between a female horse and a male donkey. It is produced between a female horse and a male donkey. Whereas hinny is produced by a hinny is produced between a female donkey and a male horse. Both of these interspecific hybrids are sterile. So it's a different species, but it is a sterile species. That is, it cannot give rise to new organisms. Other examples or exceptions of this is lichen and tiger. Lichen, it's liger, not lichen. Liger is a cross between the lion and tiger, and tiger is a cross between tiger and lion. Both of these cross only produced in captivity. But one thing, both of these species are fertile. That is, they can further reproduce young ones. But they cannot be produced, they cannot interbreed to give a fertile offspring in nature. They only reproduce when they are placed in, or they are kept in captivity. Next, after the species, we have to discuss genus. What is genus? Group of related species is known as genus. What is the common character which is to be possessed by the species to place in one genus? That common character is those species must have a common ancestor. The example of genus is Anthera tigris. that is tiger. Panthera, leo, that is lion. So you can see that both of these are different species. The one is tiger and another one is lion. But their genus same, that is Panthera. Next, we are going to discuss family. What is a family? Group of related genus or genera are to be placed in common family. For example, the family Solanaceae has various genera in it. Next, the family Felidae has Felis, that is the domestic cats, as well as Panthera, that means the large, big cats. The Panthera is specific to big cats family, and the Felis domestica is usually the scientific name of a domestic cat. It is referred as in one common family, and that is Felidae. Generally, in case of animals, the generic name is given a Idae, I-D-A-E, in the support of their name. Like Felis become Felidae, and that is become the name of the family. Next is order. The group of various families which has related characters are referred as one order. Example, the family Candidae, that is for the dogs, and family Felidae, that is for the cats, are to be placed in one order, and that order is referred as carnivore. The next is class. It's like order is a group of various families which has related characters. Likewise, the class is a group of having organisms possessed in different orders but having correlated characters, or possess similar characters, are to be placed in similar class. And you have studied the various classes in your previous studies or previous classes, like in 9 in detail, like the class Mammalia. Next, phylum. In case of plantae, it is referred as division. Various classes which have same characteristics are to be placed in one phylum. For example, the various phylums are, Animalia are Echinodermata, Arthropoda. Those are possessed by different classes. Like 5 classes are to be placed in one phylum. After that, kingdom. The largest of all these hierarchical taxons. Kingdom is a group of related phylums in which various organisms are placed, and those organisms have certain fixed common characters. For example, Animalia they do not have cell wall, they cannot synthesize their own food. These are the common characters which are possessed by the kingdom Animalia, or they are composed of eukaryotic cells. So, on these common characters, we make a larger taxon, and the largest taxon among all these 7 obligate categories, and that taxon is known as kingdom. Now we discuss the taxonomical hierarchical classification of certain organisms. The first organism which we have to discuss is Homo sapiens, that is us, that is human beings. The scientific name of human beings is Homo sapiens. So the specific name or the specific epithet is sapiens. The genus is Homo, as its binomial nomenclature explains us. The family is Hominidae. As I explained you, the name of the family is made by placing Idae behind the name of genus. Behind the generic name, when we place Idae, generally it becomes the family of, and in case of animals. The order is Primata. Primata means prime. The first apes which present on, or which were present on Earth. The class of human beings is Mammalia. Mammalia word is taken from mammary glands, M-A-M-M-A-R-Y, and mammary glands means milk-producing glands are possessed by all these organisms, which comes in mammary. The phylum is Chordata. The Chordata means they possess the notochord, they have pharyngeal gill slits, and that notochord is literally, when they become adult, it goes into a vertebral column. And the kingdom is animal. Eukaryotic organisms, they do not possess cell wall, and all these characters are put in kingdom. The next organism which we have to classify according to its binomial nomenclature is Musca domestica, that is housefly. Its generic name is Musca, its specific name is domestica, its family is Muscidae, its order is Diptera. Diptera means true wings. It has two wings on the both sides which help it to fly. Its class is Insecta. Its phylum is Arthropoda, that means jointed feet, joint appendages, paired appendages, and its kingdom is animal. So both human beings and the Musca domestica, that is housefly, comes in the same kingdom, that is animal. Next two, we discuss the biological classification system or binomial classification system of two plant species. The first one is mango, that is referred as Mangifera indica. So the Mangifera is generic name, and the indica is its species name. Its family is Anacardiaceae. Its order is spindles. Its class is Dicotyledone, which means it has two cotyledons. Its phylum is Angiosperma. The seeds are enclosed within the fruit, and the kingdom is Plantae. The next, which we have to discuss after mango, is wheat. The scientific name of wheat is Triticum aestivum. So its generic name is Triticum. Its scientific name is, or you can say, its specific epithet, specific name is aestivum. Its family is Poaceae. Its order is Poaceae. It is monocotyledon seed. Single cotyledon is possessed by that seed, so monocotyledony. Its phylum is same, Angiosperma. The seed is enclosed within the fruit, and it is also included in the kingdom Plantae. So these are the biological classification of two plant species, that is mango and wheat. Now we will study the taxonomic aids. What are taxonomic aids? The various techniques, various stored information, and procedures which helps us to study taxonomy are known as taxonomic aids. So बच्चों, basically these are the various procedures, various methods, various techniques, and stored information which we kept with us in the form of papers, in the form of printed media, which helps us in the taxonomical study is known as, or are known as, taxonomic aids. Various kind of taxonomic aids which we are going to study is botanical gardens, zoological parks, museums, and then we have certain keys for particular identification of a particular species on the basis of its characters. So along with that, we are going to study certain herbariums as well. So these are the taxonomic aids which we are going to study. The first taxonomic aid which we are going to study today is botanical garden. Botany means the study of plants. So the garden which stored the various variety of plants for various educational purpose and scientific research purpose are known as botanical gardens. Botanical gardens basically provide us the live plants for research work. They provide us various seedlings and seeds for our research work, for the growth of particular plant. It has now numerous kind of plants to study its features and comparison along with the different species. So that's how the botanical gardens are helpful for us. The first botanical garden was made by Theophrastus. who is also known as father of botany. Rather than then the modern botanical gardens are made in the 16th century in Italy. The first botanical garden of India is the Royal Garden. The Royal Botanical Garden, which later on named as the National Botanical Garden. Now, this Indian Botanical Garden or National Botanical Garden is named as Acharya Subhash Chandra Bose Botanical Gardens, which is present in Howrah in Kolkata. Earlier it was referred as Calcutta. So this is the botanical garden, a very famous first botanical garden present in our country. Rather than this, we have another garden which is also known as National Botanical Garden or National Research for Botanical Garden in Lucknow. Rather than this, international garden that is known as Royal Botanical Garden of Kew. And Kew is in London, England. This Indian Botanical Garden is famous for banyan tree, for pandanus, and for giant water lilies. The banyan tree has certain specific characteristics, that it lives for 250 years. It has various 2800 approximately prop roots, which looks like the stems. It has very strong network of those prop roots, like a canopy, through which we have to seek out and goes to the main stem. So that's why that tree which are present in that Royal Botanical Garden or in that Indian Botanical Garden is very large area. Those trees are covering a very large area. So these are certain botanical gardens which are present all around the world as well as in India.